All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA practice exam series, where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like, subscribe, and share. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. On the first day of beauty school, the lead instructor tells her class that they must keep their station spotless at all times. This means they need to clean and sanitize everything at the end of the day before leaving for the night. No direct reinforcement is ever given for doing this, but the students still keep their stations clean. This demonstrates what? So the key here is the idea that no direct reinforcement is ever given, but the students are still keeping their stations clean. And why are they keeping their stations clean? Well, the lead instructor told them you must keep their stations spotless at all times. So the lead instructor did what? She established a rule. The rule is you must keep your stations spotless at all times. And we know it's a rule and not necessarily a contingency because no direct reinforcement's ever been given. And so regardless of the consequence, these students are still following this behavior. So this demonstrates rule-governed behavior. It's this verbal statement of a contingency without any direct consequence. It's not contingency shaped because we've never had a direct consequence for doing it, and yet they continue to show the behavior. Automatic reinforcement, well, it's not necessarily automatic reinforcement just because it says no direct reinforcement is ever given for doing this. And that's the key in this question. No direct reinforcement is ever given for doing this. Is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this particular question. And then respondent conditioning. This is not a reflexive behavior. This is an operant behavior. So we know respondent conditioning cannot be it. The lead instructor established a rule. The class follows the rule. And so we continue with rule-governed behavior. Bruce gets a call from his wife telling him that she just hit someone's car in the grocery store parking lot. She said there is some damage and that she is going to exchange information. Bruce starts to feel angry about the fact that this is going to cost a lot of money. Bruce's anger would not be considered a blank from a radical behaviorism perspective. So let's think about Bruce's anger. What do we know about Bruce's anger? Well, he got a call from his wife. She just hit someone's car. She said there's damage and she's going to exchange information. And as a result, Bruce starts to feel angry. So is this internal feeling considered a behavior in radical behaviorism? It is, right? Internal thoughts and feelings are considered behaviors. Is it a public event? It's not a private event, right? A public event is something that is observable. Now the question becomes, in radical behaviorism, are private events part of our analysis of behavior? They are. We have to consider private events. We can't observe them necessarily, and we can't measure them reliably, but they have to be included in the analysis because they are behavior. The only difference between a public and private event is the observability of those events. So the anger is not considered a private event or a public event from a radical behaviorism perspective, but it is a behavior, it is a private event, and it is part of our analysis of behavior. The teacher implements a behavior intervention to reduce off-task behavior in 3 different classroom activities: math, reading, and group work. Data is collected continuously, but the intervention is first introduced during math lessons, then later in reading, and finally in group work. The intervention is not removed once introduced. What type of design is the teacher using? All right, pretty straightforward experimental design question. First things first, the intervention is not removed. What can we immediately eliminate? Well, we can eliminate the reversal design. Pretty simple. Next, we have a situation where we have an intervention to reduce off-task behavior in 3 different classroom activities. So now we've got a situation across settings. Let's think about that. If you have this and you have math and reading and group work, what is that starting to look like? Because data is collected continuously, but the intervention is first introduced during math lessons. So if we have baseline, we have math here, and then what? Baseline continues in reading, and then baseline continues in group work. So we have math first, and then reading, and then group work. What does this look like to me? That looks like a multiple baseline design. And it is, right? This type of design is a multiple baseline design. Now, if you're fluent and you've studied a lot, do you need to draw it out? Probably not. But if you have to, go ahead and do it because it quickly appears as a multiple baseline design. Don't be afraid to use the tools that you're given on your exam if you have to. If you're prepared, you should have time to work through each question with enough time to finish. Now, can you pass and not have any time left? Of course, but many people are able to finish the exam in a reasonable amount of time. Do what you need to do to answer the question in front of you correctly. That is your only priority. Alex typically only drinks tequila when watching his favorite team on Saturday, but today, after seeing some of his friends drink beer, he decides that he is going to have a beer instead of tequila today. Seeing his friends drink beer acts as a blank. All right, so the situation is Alex only drinks tequila when watching his favorite team, but now he sees his friends drinking beer, and so he says, I'm going to have a beer instead. Question becomes, could Alex have a beer if he wanted to, regardless of his friends are there or not? Sure, the friends are not signaling the availability of the beer, right? Because Alex he never drinks beer regardless. But if he wanted to, he could. What's changed, though, is the value of the beer has increased now that his friends are drinking beer. So seeing the friend drink beer increased the value of the beer and acted as a motivating operation. It's an establishing operation for drinking the beer. Seeing the friends drink beer is not necessarily a discriminative stimulus. It doesn't necessarily signal the availability of the beer. Alex only drinks tequila. He might not have beer, but he does want beer. And when you want something or not want something, that has to do with the MO. Seeing his friends drink beer is an antecedent, not a consequence, so it can't be a reinforcer. And it isn't a prompt because it's not prompting Alex to do anything. It's simply making the act of drinking beer or the beer more valuable, which is temporarily evoking the behavior of drinking a beer, making it an establishing operation. So seeing his friends drink beer acts as a motivating operation. Lori decides that she is going to smile at her husband whenever he takes out the trash or washes the dishes without her asking. Lori never tells her husband about this change, but every time Lori's husband is taking out the trash and washing the dishes on a much more frequent basis. What specific idea is associated with the fact Lori did not tell her husband what she was doing? All right, so let's think about this question. What is this question really saying? It's a little confusing. What specific idea is associated with the fact Lori did not tell her husband what she was doing? Well, what is Lori doing? Well, she's reinforcing her husband, right? Taking out trash or washing dishes. Doesn't tell him, but eventually the husband is doing it more and more. So regardless of the knowledge of being reinforced, the husband has been reinforced and Lori's plan is effective. So the question becomes, what do we call it when reinforcement is effective, even though the person being reinforced isn't aware what is going on? A, contingencies. What isn't a contingency? Because Lori never told him. So it's not a, if you take out the trash, then I'll smile at you. Lori never established a contingency. Is it positive reinforcement? Careful, right? The question is asking about the fact Lori did not tell her husband what she was doing. You've got to answer just what the question is asking. And they're asking about the fact that Lori did not tell her husband what she was doing. We're not worried about the positive reinforcement here. We're worried about the automaticity, which says reinforcement can take place even if the target of reinforcement doesn't know it's occurring. And then contiguity has to do with a closeness of the consequence. And we're not talking about how close the consequence is delivered following the behavior. We're talking about the automaticity of that reinforcement, the reinforcement taking place regardless of the husband's lack of knowledge that it's actually occurring. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. When you pass your exam, please let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. We'll see you soon.